get this podcast on the road.
All right.
Boom, 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 boom.
Welcome to Signal Soundbytes. I'm Brandon Peña, editor-in-chief of The Signal, and joining me today are three cool people who will now introduce themselves. Start.
Well, cool person number one is Troylon Griffin the second. What's up, yo? Yo, yo, yo. What's up in the diggins?
What's the title?
My Wiggins.
What's your title?
I'm the assistant editor of The Signal. Yes, I think you all know this, more or less. And I'm also...
Well, for our new listeners, who might not know this.
I'm the assistant editor, everyone, and I'm also a contributor of Awesomeness.
Don't just assume people know you.
Okay. Sorry.
Hey guys, I'm Emily Wolfe, and I am the audience engagement coordinator.
It's a long title.
3 words.
Like, even when we have to type it up, it's like, has to be short.
The ADC. What's up, guys? My name is Justin Murphy. I'm the managing editor for The Signal.
All right. Well, welcome, guys. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Trump-Putin press war, UHCL's new smoking policy, and a new segment we'll be calling No Comment. So, during the recent summit between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, a journalist was forcibly removed for holding up a sign reading Nuclear Weapon Ban Treaty. The sign was declared by Russian authorities as a malicious item. The journalist was reporting for The Nation magazine. Additionally, a Finnish newspaper bought out 300 billboards along the route towards the summit with messages regarding the importance of the press. So, do you think the journalist stepped outside of his role by holding up the sign, and what are your thoughts of him being removed?
Well, one question I want to ask is, was he there also reporting and holding up the sign, or was he just there?
He was there to report for The Nation magazine, and still while he was there, he had a sign, and he was holding it up. And so originally he was, told he needs to leave, and so he left peacefully, but then he was brought back in to get his belongings, and when he came back in, he held up the sign and then was forcibly removed at that point.
Did he hold up the sign again intentionally?
I believe so, yes.
I see. Well, I mean, I think that, it's a right to free speech, and I know that there are different sides and issues of, whether a journalist should take such an editorial stance like he did in expressing his opinion. But at the end of the day, I think that since he was seemingly removed because he was a journalist and because he was expressing his opinion, that is something that should have been done. Because, what if someone came and was holding up a sign expressing the opposite thing? Would they have been removed? And he wasn't even doing anything wrong. He wasn't hurting anyone. He was probably being very peaceful holding up the sign.
This is in Russia, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was in like Finland.
This was in Finland. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
So he's holding a nuclear weapon ban treaty.
Yes, nuclear weapon ban treaty.
So treaties, a poster advocating a treaty is now malicious? Is that what I'm hearing?
According to Russian authorities,
Okay.
it was a malicious item.
That sounds
Questionable.
not okay.
Russia!
It's the worst.
I honestly don't know. It's just...
I mean, I gotta say, honestly, knowing that they did that just over such a little thing, it makes me kind of scared that we're doing this podcast. What if someone hears it in Russia and they send someone over to hurt us?
I'm just saying.
I think I've been hearing drones over at my house at night.
Okay, that's
My thing
dramatic.
is, this was in Finland, not in Russia, so I really don't understand why the Russians had him removed. It's not their country, and B, not their newspapers or magazines. So,
and again, it
he's a person,
and it wasn't it wasn't malicious. He was holding up a sign that was for good cause. I mean, does anyone here advocate for nuclear weapons, to be used and stuff like that?
But even though it was for a good cause, was he still within his journalistic responsibility of remaining unbiased, or at that point are you just you're going into it? I understand his point of view of doing it, but is it more so he's trying to get his message across, or is he just trying to maybe cause a situation?
If he's an opinion writer, then it's actually his job to have opinions and to broadcast his opinions. And at the same time, yeah, he could have been there to report on part of it, and then the other part of it, he's not a reporter, he's just a person who cares about. So, just because you're a journalist doesn't mean you're not a human. And I think that's something people tend to forget.
I think it is a bit of a murky issue because, the fact that he was a journalist but expressing his opinion and he got taken away. If he wasn't a journalist, maybe it'd be a bit more understandable. Still wrong, but understandable. But the thing that murks this issue up is the fact that he was a journalist, and we have, systems in place in which we generally tend to think journalists don't express their opinion when they're at events. They're just there to cover it. So I feel like that's the whole troublesome thing. Nevertheless, I don't think he should have been removed.
Well, also, Reporters Without Borders released their 2018 World Press Freedom Index, which ranks 180 countries based on things such as self-censorship, transparency, media independence, and pluralism. In 2016, the United States was ranked 41. In 2018, the U.S. is now ranked at 48. Russia has been ranked at 148 since 2016. What are your thoughts?
Wait, so the lower...
So the lower you are in the ranking is the more...
censorship?
No, it's more like you have freedom of the press, basically. But the lower the rankings are is more where you're being self-censored, you're not having as much independence when it comes to reporting.
So you don't want to be number one.
No, you do want to be number one.
Yeah, you do want to be number one. The lower you are... Okay, basically, the lower you are, the
the higher your number, the more
free your journalism is. So basically, the fact that Russia's so low,
the more transparency you have, the more independence you have, and stuff like that.
And in Russia, it would seem that journalists don't have that much freedom.
Well, I mean, it's a known thing that it's a state-controlled media.
Yeah.
State-controlled. I mean, let's just get real. It's communism without saying it's communism. Like, they're just terrified to put that word back on.
Bad communism.
Yeah, it's not good. They completely control every channel.
I'm quite curious to know what number one is, personally. I mean, because
I believe it was Norway.
I've always, felt like...
Sounds about right.
Sounds right.
I've always felt that despite what's happening these days, I feel like, the U.S. still manages to put out a lot of news without having to worry too much. I mean, they do have to worry, don't get me wrong. But, it's always seemed like the U.S. was pretty good about freedom of the press. So to know that it's gotten lower, or that it is 41 or 48, makes me wonder how the other countries are.
Well, you have Trump wanting Trump TV, and then you have, Breitbart News, which the guy was employed at one point in time by Trump. So he's definitely trying. And his son is now dating a Fox News reporter.
Of course it's Fox News.
Yeah, I'm just saying Trump's presidency and his administration are really trying to take on, get their own, control of the government.
And that's what scares me so much about, the whole stigma about fake news and all this stuff. Side plug, we have a lot of good articles coming out about that. You should check them out. But that's the biggest thing that, scares me about that term, fake news, is, I hear it, everywhere, especially at school and my household and my family and everything. And it's oh, well, that's just the fake news that the media is trying to portray. It's the media's fault. It's the media's fault. And if we keep putting this distrust in the media is not going to be able to do its job, which is to be the watchdog of the government.
And the worst part is that, a lot of things that are called so-called fake news is news that's legitimate and stuff like that.
But it goes against what the president wants people to hear.
Yeah, and so then that's the worst part, that they can't even use it, in a good sense. Good, I say with quotes, so calling illegitimate news fake news. Instead, they're calling the legitimate news fake news and stuff, which makes things even worse. So,
and I think the biggest thing, Emily, you talked about it in your article, citizen journalism. Citizen journalism can be good in the sense of we see all these cell phone videos of say for instance, someone being mistreated by someone in their neighborhood because of their race or because of something like this. But it can get into trouble when people start putting citizen journalism and cell phone videos on Twitter at the same level as your New York Times and Washington Post and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Well, the top 10 countries that were on this list include Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, Finland, Switzerland, Jamaica, Belgium, New Zealand,
Oh, Jamaica.
Denmark, and Costa Rica.
So basically, places that keep to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, really, like,
I think I know what places I'm going to be visiting in the future.
But moving on April 13, 2017, the University Life Committee approved a new policy banning the use of all tobacco products on campus. This includes cigarettes, e-cigs, vapes, cigars, hookah, pipes, and any other type of smoking material and smokeless tobacco products. The policy will go into effect August 1st with enforcement relying on students, staff, and faculty to help educate one another on the policy. So, and going forward, Dean of Students David Rakita said students caught smoking on campus in most cases will be simply asked to refrain from using the item in question. If this person refuses to cease this activity or repeats this activity in the future, they will be responsible to the Student Code of Conduct. If found responsible, sanctions could range from a written warning to suspension. The UHCL Police Department would be brought into this scenario if the student or person refuses to cooperate with the instructions from any university official. Furthermore, the new policy prohibits tobacco products from being used anywhere on campus, including the upcoming residence hall. However, smoking is allowed inside one's vehicle as it is personal property. So, do you think this policy will do any good?
Okay, so first of all, this whole time I could have brought some hookah up here and hooked up. Wow, didn't know that.
I mean,
Yikes.
But sorry, I had to say that. Not that I do hookah or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, I think it's a pretty interesting idea itself. I mean, you know, if from a standpoint of, you know, if you're against smoking or you strongly are against the secondhand smoke, I can see why, you know, they would do this and everything. I mean, me personally, sometimes I don't like to smell smoke. I mean, okay, I wouldn't mind smelling smoke if it was damaging my lungs, but if it's damaging my lungs, I am kind of, you know, I don't want to smell it and all that.
The question is it going to do any good, right?
yeah, do you think this policy will do any good?
I don't think anything.
I think
We do have new signs. I have seen
Yes.
some of the new signs
They're
that
ugly.
say that we are a tobacco-free campus. Do you think...
If you want to call them signs.
They're so
I mean,
ugly.
I feel like, you know, most people, I mean, because I don't ever hear any of people at UHCL doing anything rebellious, bad. Not a lot, at least. So I feel like, you know, the level of integrity amongst people at UHCL is pretty good. So they'll stop and everything. They'll hate it, of course, but I feel like they'll stop. Now, if, you know, all the major staff here that I see smoking outside decide to rebel and they start smoking outside, that'll be pretty exciting. But
For us to cover, yeah.
yeah, but I think that for the most part, I think they'll listen, honestly.
I mean, I don't smoke. I don't really like being around smoke, but at the same time, it's not illegal. They have them outside. It's basically centered around like a couple of areas on campus. Like, just I don't understand why most major universities aren't.
Well, smoking may be legal, but I mean, they don't let you do it at high school.
Yeah, I know, but that's because you have to be 18 to buy
Fair enough.
cigarettes. But that's the thing, like, if we want to be taken seriously as a four-year university, and become more traditional, we should be adopting traditional four-year university codes and stuff. And
We'll see most traditional four-year universities don't allow smoke on campus.
I mean,
So-
that's where I know. But
I mean,
I think
the only reason I know this is because I was in a class last year and this was our client, so we had to
Yeah.
make a campaign for this.
I feel like maybe one area should be allowed.
I feel like
So whenever because I know y'all did the survey, what were the results from it? Like, did it say like if students were for this, against this?
I'm trying to remember. So when we did that survey, we weren't necessarily concerned as much with what they felt about the policy because that wasn't our lane to swerve into. We were just letting people know that this was happening. So we were mostly concerned with how many people knew it was happening, and originally we had about 20% that knew it was going to happen. if even 20% or something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers. And our goal was to get it up to 70% awareness across the entire university. And I don't know what we did, how close we got to that. We probably got kind of close. But anyways, to answer your question, I don't know. I know that when we did our event in the atrium, people would walk up and be like, "No, I didn't know, but I'm glad that it's happening." And then some people would walk up and be like, "No, I didn't know, but like that's messed up." And I feel like this has been an ongoing issue for like so many years. Like they've been trying to get a policy in place for this for so long that finally they were just like, okay, we're gonna have to do it. Like it's gonna be a problem whenever we do it, so we might as well just do it now. I wasn't on that committee when that happened.
Well, one thing I'm thinking about, I mean, this is just theoretical and speculation. I know that you said that most four-year universities don't allow smoking. And, you know, from what I've seen, most of those who smoke outside of UHCL are, you know, a bit older and everything. And so, I mean, when I say older, I guess I mean, let's say...
Not the typical college
25 and older. Yeah, not the typical college student and stuff like that. Like, they're the students that are probably getting their masters or their staff and faculty. And so that being said, you know, UHCL is becoming a four-year university, or is, and it's trying to become a traditional one. For the most part, I don't ever see new students who are freshmen or sophomores like me going out there and smoking and stuff like that. Like, to me, from what I've seen, cigarette smoking is, you know, kind of becoming unpopular amongst younger ages. So to me, it seems a bit legitimate if they want to stop doing that. Because, I mean, at this point, there are a lot of people that just don't do it, that are like around my age and everything.
I think what we need to realize is we have a large international population, and yeah, while smoking is becoming more taboo in like America and like Western cultures, in most cultures it's still the norm. So we're asking people to leave their homes and like the other side of the world from their other cultures, come to America, already experience the culture shock, and then I know my parents smoke, and so they do say that cigarettes are a crutch and like they feel comfortable doing it. We're also going to take that away from them. I think
it depends on...
No, I think if we need to make sure we realize it's not just American Western culture here at this university. It's a lot more than that.
Well, I think it also depends on what international students we're talking about, because there's, you know, a fair population that come from some countries where the culture is don't do any drugs at all and all. So I feel like, you know, there is a...
But I understand your point of, like, this isn't just affecting Americans that go to this university. Like, we have a high international student population. So I understand that. I think there's nothing we can really do about it now because policy's already happened and it's going to happen. It's going into effect August 1st.
So since it is going into effect and it's basically going to rely on a lot of, you know, kind of self-policing. If you saw someone
the secret
smoking,
police,
right? The secret signal police.
Oh no, not the secret signal police. We're not doing that.
Wait, is that a thing?
No, it's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Hey, I want to be part of that.
So if you saw someone smoking on campus starting August 1st, would you ask them to put it out? Would you ask them to stop?
No.
That's not my place. If you want to smoke, smoke.
I'm kidding. No, I wouldn't.
It's not illegal.
Yeah,
do what you want.
I mean, I'm kind of...
Don't blow it in my face.
I'm sort of the kind of...
Even though it's policy, you wouldn't do it.
I mean, I'm kind of the person to where if I see someone doing something wrong, something like that at least, I'm pretty sure they're going to get caught by someone else. So no sense in me telling them to stop. I believe in natural justice. You know, if someone does something wrong, something bad is going to eventually happen to them.
All right. As journalists, we are accustomed to being rejected when asking someone a question or two. However, what if the tables were turned? In this new segment called No Comment, the panelists will each draw 2 questions from a bowl. Well, a little box. They will then proceed to answer the question no matter how uncomfortable or awkward it might be. If the pressure is too much to handle, the panelists can respond with no comment. However, this can only be done once.
Wait, like to one of the questions?
So how many questions are we each going to get asked?
You're going to get 2 questions, and you can only say no comment to one of them.
2 questions at once?
You're going to get it once around.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So you're not going to know. So.
Why do I have to go first?
Because you're right there.
So I just pick out 2.
Just pick out one. Only one. All right, what's your question, Troylon?
how do you really feel about Jurassic Park?
The one person I didn't want to get that question.
Okay, well, Jurassic Park is one of the most important films ever made, and to add credibility to that, it was named the 6th most influential film of all time by Empire magazine. It's a British movie magazine. It is one of the most important films ever in terms of special effects. A masterpiece of Spielberg. One might say it was his second to last good movie besides Schindler's List, and it gave so much.
The Post is Spielberg.
I know that. Let me talk. Anyway,
Just saying.
point is, it is a great film, great effects, Velociraptors for the win. They're awesome. And yeah, what's my second question?
The one person I didn't want to get that.
Oh, okay. I'm going
Emily's so regretting asking that question now. All right, Emily, it's your turn.
Okay.
It's one of mine.
What is the worst thing you have done at UHCL?
Oh,
I'm glad
I
didn't
don't
have
see you
that
doing
one.
anything bad.
I don't. I mean, I've gone to the wrong class. I've gone to the wrong bathrooms before.
Me in
This
high
is just
school.
because I'm like totally like
I wanted Troylon to get this one.
absent-minded.
Oh, you don't want to hear my
I
answer.
don't know. Maybe like I've lied to a teacher to get an extension on a paper.
What?
Which class? Which
was
professor?
She's so pure.
She said no comment.
It was for Dr. Cherry, and
Dang, she just out here admitting it.
Yes.
I don't remember what I said, but I accidentally deleted my own paper, and I thought it was so bad. And I thought, no one's going to believe I accidentally deleted my own paper, so I lied. And I think I said my computer's like self-shut down or something like that. And he gave me a 24-hour deadline to make it up.
Did you?
I did. It wasn't that long. It was a 2-page paper. It wasn't
Oh, okay,
that
cool.
long, but it was like 10 minutes
Like
of
a
our
10-page
class.
research paper.
I
You
went
have
to go
24
like
hours.
print it out, and I accidentally deleted it. And I was like, that is so dumb.
This is one of Emily.
Justin's turn.
Justin's turn.
Which staff member is least likely to read a newspaper?
Oh, that's
Easy.
just.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, if you say me, I'm gonna hurt you. This mic's gonna hit your head.
I can.
Easy would read it if it's online, but he's not reading a full paper newspaper.
Is it my turn again?
No, it's Brandon.
Oh, okay, good. Come on. Let it be one of mine. Let it be one of
This would be a
mine.
good one.
It's so tiny.
Have you ever cheated on a test?
Oh.
Wait, what? Okay, define the scope of this. Is it?
Have you ever cheated on a test?
Like,
Just in general?
A test.
no, yeah.
Okay, then
Like
yes.
college or?
Explain.
Well,
Explain fine.
which time?
Most recent.
Moving on. Troylon.
These are amazing.
All right, Troylon's last question. I think it's your old question.
Have you ever talked negatively about UHCL?
Oh.
I've talked negatively about certain people at UHCL.
But never the institution? Are you sure?
No. Unlike,
Yeah. Are you sure?
You sure?
not
I'm sure.
really.
I
I
don't
mean,
read some of the stuff
I
you've written.
think we can.
If these
think
walls
of
could talk.
some.
I don't really.
These walls could talk.
I mean, I don't really talk. Again, maybe certain people, but I mean, I don't have a problem with the institution, unlike some people. But
Oh.
well, I'm.
Oh, man.
But,
All right.
Yeah,
Emily, it's your turn.
I gotta say.
Who has the worst humor on staff?
Oh, yes. I have an idea.
Well, I mean, there's people I know very well, and like people I see all the time, and there's someone I've only seen twice.
Well, who has the worst humor?
Probably me. I have the worst.
You can't say
Cop-out. You can't say
Boo.
yourself.
I've only met
Next.
Trey twice, so I'm gonna say Trey because I've only had 2 conversations with him.
I know, his
I've only met
political
him
cartoons are
twice.
pretty
Safe answer.
His humor is good.
His political cartoons are pretty good, though.
They are. He's had that upcoming one. It's really great.
Phew, I thought you were gonna
All
say
right,
me.
it's Justin's turn.
This is one of mine, and it's the one I didn't want to
What is
draw.
it?
What is it?
It says, what's the worst lie you've ever told?
Ooh, what's the worst
Oh.
lie?
No comment. Next.
Oh.
I would love to have that one.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right.
Are we gonna do it again?
We can't. We have enough. We
Yeah,
don't do it
let's do more.
All right, this is mine. Let's see.
I used my no comment though.
Yeah, so you're screwed. Who is your least favorite professor at UHCL?
He said I'm gonna use that no comment.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no comment.
My turn.
He wanted to, but he was like, nope.
Nope. All right, it's Emily's turn. This should be fun.
You guys really full.
She got her own again.
I did not want this one.
What does it say?
Worst place you peed your pants at.
I'm gonna pee my pants if this is hilarious.
Cali River Rapids at Disney World.
Everything is Disney with you, even where you pee.
It was like, and it legit, I got so scared of this one upcoming drop. And no one knew because it was a water ride.
All right, please give me a good one. I don't want to.
You can't say no comment.
I could have said no comment.
You could have. That's the best part about this game is that nobody understands it.
Oh, it's one of Troylon's.
Oh.
Have you ever lied to your editor-in-chief?
I'm here for this question.
To my current editor-in-chief? Or to my editor-in-chief?
Either or.
I definitely lied to Liz when she asked if I knew how to use Adobe, what's the video editing one?
Oh,
Premiere?
yes.
She's like, do you know how to use Premiere? I was like, yeah, I know. And then I tried to use it and I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I was like, Troylon, can you teach me how to use iMovie?
How many are there left?
There's one. Who wants it?
Me.
Just ask it. I know what the
Yeah,
question
just
is.
ask
It's
it.
gotta be
Ask
mine.
it, everyone has to
It's
answer.
a pretty good question too.
Okay.
I still have my no comment though, so.
This is a long one. Okay. If you were stuck on an island, which person on staff would you not want to be stuck with?
I want to answer this. I would not want to be stuck with.
I know
Wait,
everyone.
do I really want to ask that?
I know what everyone should say, but
What? Tell us.
no.
Why not?
Because it's you! Just kidding.
I would not want to be stuck with Troylon.
Why?
Because I feel like you would have the least amount of survival skills because you're the youngest.
Hold on a second. I was a Boy Scout.
Hey!
Okay, I lied. I wanted to be a Boy Scout.
Troylon lies
The
again.
one in which Troylon lies.
Okay, fine. Let's see. Oh, who's someone I wouldn't want to be? I wouldn't want to be stuck with. I don't feel comfortable talking about people that aren't here.
Do it.
No, it's wrong. I wouldn't want to be stuck with. Brandon, I'm not sure I want to be stuck with you. No, simply because while it would be hilarious, I have a feeling that I don't know, you would not like some of my ideas of trying to survive,
That's probably true.
and it would get to a point where I would find some the natives there and just be like, this guy's annoying me. Stone him, please.
No, I would probably
I'm just
evict
kidding,
myself
just
off the island.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is tough. I gotta think of this.
I know what I want to say.
I mean,
but I'm not gonna say it.
honestly,
Say
Say it.
I'm not going to say it.
I wouldn't.
You have to say you
I
have no
wouldn't want
comment.
to.
We'll edit this out.
Okay, I wouldn't want to be on an island with certain people on the staff that I think would boss me around and say
Like
and
boss?
get. No, not you.
Oh. Okay.
I know who you're talking about. So I was thinking the same thing.
don't grow a pair.
I just.
I know, come on. I was not afraid to name names.
You said me. I'm always berated. I'm the Job of
Okay,
this staff.
I'll go a funnier way. I wouldn't want to be stuck with Izu because without his phone, that man is helpless.
Oh wow, I forgot about
And he'll
Izu.
admit that, too.
Can I pick him?
He'll admit that. He'll admit that.
Oh man. The person I probably wouldn't want to be stuck on an island with is honestly
Any of us.
it's any of you. No, it's probably Izu. Just because I feel like you said, he would be very much attached to his phone, and it would be very difficult to survive.
How did y'all not?
I feel like
pick
everybody else
me?
kind of has like.
I am terrible. I am a whiner.
Because it'd be funny.
No, because I think you would just make it fun.
I would just be sobbing.
I mean, to be fair, it'd be fun with everyone on staff, but since we had to pick, I picked.
Cause see, like I could see like
Everyone's fun. Huh? I didn't wuss out. I said Brandon.
no, you didn't. You changed your mind.
No, I said Brandon.
You said someone who bosses your
Then
mind.
I brought up more. Now, shut.
We all know you meant Catherine.
Wait, Catherine? I was talking about Alyssa. Wait, just kidding.
That's it.
I meant Catherine and Alyssa.
Thank you for listening to Signal Soundbytes. For more reporting, head to UHCL.signal.com. Like us on Facebook and send us your comment suggestions to signalsoundbites@UHCL.signal.com. Thank you for listening, guys.
Bye, we out here.